Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Spanish Sling, a podcast where we try to bridge the gap between the Spanish and the Singaporean companies and encourage economic relations between them. And today we have the perfect guest to do so. His Excellency, the Honorable Ambassador of Spain to Singapore, Santiago Miralles. Welcome to the Spanish Sling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
I'm very happy to be with you.
So during the first part of this interview, we're going to focus on the bilateral relations between Spain and Singapore. So to begin with, can you give us a brief overview of the evolution of the Singaporean and the Spanish bilateral relations for the past years?
Yes, I think we have made big steps in the last years in our bilateral relations because we have evolved in mainly the last 2 decades from having almost a testimonial presence here to have a very strong presence of companies and Spaniards living here. And we have managed to attract the interest also of Singapore to Spain. I think they know us much better now, and we know them better too. Although there's much to do. I think we have a long way to go if we really want to use all our potentials in the economic and also in the social and cultural areas.
Exactly. So we have a long way, but we have started, and we have started strong and present. So, like Singapore, Spain is making efforts to become sustainable and a digital country. Can you specify which efforts is Spain making in this area?
I think we are very strong in these 2 areas, but now we have the best opportunity, which is the new recovery and resilience plan that have been approved, and it's, I think, with a budget of 70 billion euros, and it covers mainly these 2 areas and many others too. And I think there will be a huge opportunity, huge window for the investors of Singapore and for companies of Singapore to come to Spain and use these opportunities. But our companies are very good at that. I think we have some of the most relevant companies in the world in energy, renewable energies, etc. And I guess that the Singaporeans don't know us very well, and I think it would be very, very good if they could come to us and see how many opportunities we can offer them.
Exactly, so that's why we are here, so that the Singaporean companies can learn about Spain. And in which way Spanish companies can help Singapore to achieve its sustainable goals for 2030 and 2050?
Here in Singapore, you mean?
Here in Singapore.
Yes, I think, well, Singapore is, I think we are all the world, all the developed countries are in the same war, I think, to try to develop a more sustainable economy and also to try to follow the goals of United Nations in this regard. And Singapore is one of the most engaged countries in Asia, at any rate in Southeast Asia. And Spain is also very much engaged in that. And I think we can offer them a lot of fields to work here. And I think Singapore, for instance, is working very hard in renewable energies, recyclable, for instance, and also in agri-food and tech food. And I think Spain is a real advantaged country in these areas. Mainly, for instance, in agri-food, we are, I think, one of the best producers of the world. And it could be, I think, very interesting for Singapore to know which techniques we have and for the Spanish companies to bring them here. I think it will be, for example, they have this plan to develop 30% of the production in food without importing them here in Singapore. And I think Spain has a lot to teach them in this area.
Yes, thank you very much. And finally, Mr. Ambassador, what are the long-term objectives for the Spanish and Singaporean bilateral relations?
Well, you know, as an embassy, what we try to do always is to foster relations and to make both countries better known. I think we have a lot to do, as I told you at the beginning. Of course, we have to bring more companies here. We have to bring more companies to Spain too, to bring investments on both sides. But we also have a lot to do in the cultural area, in the educational area too. I think we have a lot of opportunities in our universities, for instance, that are not very well known here in Singapore, and vice versa. I think many students could profit for the very high standards of Singapore. And we would also like to improve the position of the Spanish language here in Singapore. I think if Singapore increases the offer of the Spanish language in the schools, they will not only be able to come to Spain, but also we will have a better overview of the Latin American market, because one of the main advantages of Spain for the Singaporean companies and investors is to look to us not just as a European country, but also as a Latin American country. I mean, as a natural bridge to come to Latin America. I think Singapore is starting to evolve very quickly in this area. They are starting to have business, for instance, with the Pacific Alliance.
Yeah.
And I think Spain can be a good partner in this travel to America.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. I think you have given us a great overview of the bilateral relations between Spain and Singapore, and also have got to know for the Singaporean companies, how Spain is a digital and sustainable country, and how the Spanish companies can help achieve Singapore to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my pleasure.